Well, who's ready for the gun controllers to jump on the SiG is evil bandwagon? Yep. This is now the next evolution in the SiG debacle with the P320. Now there's leaked documents. It turns out SiG knew the entire time, and the Army, and the Navy, and the military. They all knew that the weapon was defective. They all knew it was going to kill everybody, and they're so evil because that gun lobby, you know how they are, profits over people. Well, it was only a matter of time until the stupid took hold. All right, guys, I'm going to walk you through something right now from a gun-controlling source because they've now jumped on the bandwagon to hating on SiG. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. And, of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on because every time you do, you get to poke a gun controller right in the eye and give them a broken blood vessel like that. All right, listen. If you're tuning into this video and you're expecting me to bash SiG, it's not going to happen. If you're expecting me to defend SiG, also not going to happen. I'm not affiliated with SiG professionally in any way, shape, or form. However, I am directly interested in when gun controllers try to use controversy to stir up division in our space and take our rights. That's when I get a little offended. Now, what I'm going to show you right now is how they are manipulating fact. Because the bottom line is, we don't know fact yet. We have a lot of assumption. We have a lot of smoke. We don't have a lot of fire yet, and there's things to consider. But the gun-controlling elements in our population are seizing on the division that is being sown through assumption, and they're now trying to make it seem like gun manufacturers are the evil of all evil, and they knew that these things were going to kill people, even though there is no hard evidence of that. Now, I'm going to show you the document that they're leaking. You can follow me at Braden LOA on X, where everything is sourced. Let's jump into this real quick. The smoking gun. Now, someone sent this to me in my X profile. They just tagged me on it. The smoking gun is a gun control source. And I said openly and candidly in my response to this individual, be wary, this is a gun control source. And that's the big thing with all these controversies that come out. You need to be careful about who's actually sourcing what and what their intent is. Okay? As we dive into this, this is according to a court exhibit. Sig Sauer identified several deadly risks with its P320 pistols as early as 2017. Now, this is a new article. They are jumping on the bandwagon. And this is the big important point right here. Several deadly risks. I'm going to show you the document that they're leaking here, and it's going to be comical. Because they're trying to seize on the opportunity in order to take our rights. All right. A court exhibit recently published online summarizes Sig Sauer's internal P320 testing and shows that the gun maker and the U.S. Army were both aware of serious safety risks with the pistol since at least 2017, years before it was fielded to soldiers as the full-size M17 and the compact M18. The document, prepared as part of Sig Sauer's contracting process with the U.S. Army, outlines multiple ways the pistol could fire without intentional trigger pull. Now, here's where I'm going to throw a disclaimer. What I'm about to show you is a document that they are espousing is valid. I have not found this. I am not releasing this as valid. I am going to point out some very obvious issues with this document, and we're just going to walk through what they are referencing as the smoking gun, so to speak, on the smoking gun to destroy Sig Sauer because they wanted to kill people, which is, of course, stupid. Let's keep going. In August 6th interview, Sig Sauer's Senior Vice President of Consumer Affairs, Phil Strader, acknowledged that the company created the document in response to a request by the U.S. military and claimed that it is being used to confuse the issue. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. Strader also described the contents of the document and the various risks analyzed by Sig Sauer engineers with respect to its confidentiality. Strader stated, "Now that it is out there, we don't mind. We'll discuss exactly. I'll go by line if you want me to." And I'm going to show you a few of the things that they're referencing here. But this is the big thing right here. I'm going to double highlight that. Confuse the issue. This is why I said in my earlier video, because I haven't done a lot of videos on this, and I'm not going to do one that's going to just scorch people from orbit. I'm just not going to do it. I don't have enough evidence of that. And honestly, no one does. There's lots of smoke, but there's no direct evidence. If you're talking about confusing the issue, that's the big problem in my opinion. Is there something that needs to be considered and looked at? Absolutely. There's too many instances where people have claimed something to not be at least investigated thoroughly. And that's a fair assessment. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. Now, when we are doing things, not we, but when people in general are doing things to create the issues that are being solved, that are being acclaimed, like putting screws inside trigger well or trigger guards and putting lint and putting stuff in there to make that gun manufacture that issue. That's only serving to undermine the overall conversation to solve the issue, which is the underlying main issue. The main point, the main desire is to solve an issue if there is one. And the more things like that that go out there, the more it confuses the issue. It muddies the water. And now, SiG, assuming that there was something wrong, again, I don't know, yay or nay. If SiG says there's is nothing wrong, other people say there is something wrong, but you've got evidence of people putting screws into guns on video to show them manufacturing a crisis or manufacturing a failure, SiG can just say, see, there's nothing wrong. That's not the way that it's supposed to work. What that does is that then undermines the overall desire of what we're trying to do to make a safe platform and to confirm there's a safe platform. That's my point. And these guys on the gun controlling left, they're just taking the advantage to completely destroy the company. That's what they're doing. Watch this. Sig Sauer's own analysis identified 13 different situations where P320s could fire unintentionally. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a second. In total, the document I'm about to show you had 17 hazards that could result in a person being killed by a P320. Okay, I'm going to say one more thing from the CEO real quick. I think it's CEO. It was Chief Marketing Officer. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to show you the document, because this doesn't even make sense. If someone can just show us how to replicate these uncommanded discharges, we will absolutely look at this from all aspects to make sure there isn't any truth to this. In a company of our size, would anyone ever believe that there is a real issue going on and we wouldn't address it? That is a valid statement. It wouldn't make sense for them not to address it, but let's get that out of here. Let's bring the document up. Now, again, I want to re-emphasize here, this is a document that the gun controlling source of the smoking gun has put forward, okay? Remember how they said 17 or 13 recorded issues, right? Listen to some of these issues, and I'm going to show you all, I'm going to be as fair as I can be on this, but I want to show you what they're citing as what can kill people, okay? Accidental trigger pull. Accidental trigger pull with a foreign object. Improperly clearing before takedown and cleaning and maintenance. Excessive firing pin inertia. I'm going to come back to the pink, don't worry. Incidental trigger pull due to not enough trigger or travel or reset distance. Accidental trigger pull while holstering or unholstering. Accidental trigger pull while clearing or stoppage. The slide ignites the primer during feeding. Broken firing pin. Barrel obstructed. Non-conforming part, which means a part that is not part of that gun. Too much pressure, a round issue, not enough barrel strength, metal fatigue, case rupture, slide ignites primer, case rupture, case rupture, case rupture, case rupture, high heat cook-off, high heat environmental, hot components, hot casing, loud noise, recoil. Those are all how they're going to kill you. Again, you can see the point of why I'm doing this video. It's idiotic of what they're saying. Now, I want to show you something else, and this is a serious concern. So if this document were really valid, again, I cannot vouch for it, this part right here, this is the probability levels, okay, on the document, and this is an important piece to this. Level C right there. Now, occasional, likely to occur sometimes in the life of an item. The fleet or inventory, so like of all the items that are purchased, it will occur several times, and the probability is between 0.001 and 0.1%. So very small percentages, but in large quantities, that's why that comes from. Okay, remember, C. Let's go back up to that pink part that I just rolled past. Impact to weapon dropped, bumped, vibration. C. Slide ignites primer during closing. Firing pin, so like a slam fire. C. Okay, this part right here is where I think SiG is putting all of their, excuse me, all of their eggs in their basket. Because if this is true, again, the firing mechanism of the P320 is designed to prevent release of the striker in a drop or during transportation. In case of a failure of the sear to striker interface, it has a redundant striker safety that blocks striker travel unless the trigger is pulled. That right there is probably why SiG is so confident that it cannot mechanically be reproduced, because they have two different safety and one is being a redundant safety. That's probably where they're putting their little flag on, right? Because if one fails, they've got the backup. I can't tell you what's going on. I can't tell you anything beyond I'm only reading this document, again, which is provided by a gun controlling source. But the reason I'm showing you this document is because the 17 issues of which they're saying gun manufacturers knew about failures that would kill people are crap. And they are normal operating standard procedure risks that are with every firearm. Slam fires, excessive heat, defective ammunition, overpressurization, firing pins breaking, barrel obstruction. All of these things are well within the realm of what we deal with every single day in firearms. But they're couching it as this overbearing, nefarious conspiracy to destroy anything and everything American. Now, this part right here is where I'm going to be fair. I'm going to say what it says. The P320 will pass drop safety testing. It will pass loose cargo testing with the safety on or off. So again, this is the manual safety model. The P320 has passed drop safety testing without a manual safety. However, failed customer drop testing. That's where the opponents are going to go after right there. The trigger must be reset and pulled in order to release the striker. In addition, the P320 has been tested with the sear disabled to prove that the striker inertia is not sufficient to cause the primer to ignite. That's where the battle is going to be, right there. All of these pieces. But the reason that I'm doing this video, actually, I'm going to go back to this one. The reason I'm doing this video is because this outlet right here is adding more mud into the water to make it as uncomfortable for everyone as possible, destroying the SiG brand, again, with no evidence, and all the things that they listed as their evidence they brought forward as a preponderance of the evidence to say that SiG knew everything was going on. Most of them are absolute bullshit. Now, I've said multiple times, and I'm going to wrap the video with this, there is smoke, there is a consumer confidence issue which needs to be addressed. We need to figure out what's going on this. But the way that it is being obfuscated through everyone trying to get their pound of flesh is not going to help the overall goal of trying to solve the issue for everybody. Anyway, that's what I've got for you guys. I'm not on either team. Let me know what you think. See you on the next one.